There's a Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is only a vessel anyways. Right, we were just getting the spiel from Kirei. Basically the same spiel that we got from Saber. But Shiro's dense, dumb, so he's just learning, the same stuff that we already knew. But he's learning it for the first time because he's dumb. And then Kirei's laying it on thick. You don't have a wish, and I could have told you that. The fact that he never freaking thinks about it, of course he doesn't. Right, anyways, he talks, and it makes my nausea stop. Okay. A voice I don't want to hear. Uh-huh. Okay. There is a Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is only a vessel anyways. Hi everybody, Renegade 67 and or 8 here, with some more Let's Play Fate Stay Night stream blind of the blind variety. So last time, Saber said stuff. This time, I, Kirei, say stuff. And it's the same stuff. But Shiro's dumb, so he hears it twice.
なくなれば、用意したものが新しい聖杯を用意する。
If it goes away, the preparer shall prepare another one. Who's preparing? Who is this big god preparing? It always gets weird when, they put in these mystical concepts of, oh, there's a big MacGuffin, but somebody has to make the MacGuffin. At a certain point, it doesn't end when you get into the whole gods and stuff. You just kind of have to cut it off. I mean, I guess you could explain it, but usually when you explain the gods, it's generally not appealing. It's generally better, I think, when it comes to godly stuff, to leave it to the viewer/reader's imagination, because if you try to explain it, you're probably going to piss at least somebody off. Lord L. Melio ain't fate. Okay, sure. We got a debate about what is and what isn't fate. Well, I say that nothing's fate. You decide your own destiny.
用意したものが新しい聖杯を用意するって、聖杯ってそんな簡単に作れるものなのか?
To prepare another one? Like cooking a nice meal? Is the Holy Grail that easy to make? Because if it is, I'm a good cooker.
器を作るだけならばな。
Just making the vessel is. Huh? Explain yourself. Just making the vessel? What, you're saying some non-god made this godly thing because they just made the vessel? What you talking about, Kirei?
無論、相応の技術が必要となってくるが、もとよりその技術なくして聖杯戦争は成り立たなかった。
Of course, one needs an appropriate skill, but the Holy Grail War could not come to be without such a skill. It is just as much fate as K and K, and the non-existent. Well, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just gonna ignore you now, you and your non-existent stuff. I exist, therefore I am. No, wait, other way around.
もともと、聖杯とは神の血を受け継いだ杯ではなく、古より伝わる魔法の釜が原型なのだ。
First of all, the Holy Grail is not a cup that received the blood of God. It was based on a magical pot passed down from ancient times. Okay. Prostrat, Tom's Tom, and Wise Fool. If you want me to ignore you, don't make a tweet just saying... not tweet, but I think of everything as tweets now. You're tweeting in my Twitch chat. Don't make a tweet just saying, yeah, ignore us, because I'm gonna have to take a little bit to look down at it and go, oh, you wrote a thing just to say for me to ignore you, but the best way for me to ignore you is for you to just say nothing. Sorry, that triggers me a little bit. It was based on a magical pot passed down from ancient times. A magical pot. Pot of greed! But what does pot of greed do? I hate that meme, but it felt fitting, so I said it. I'm sorry. I must apologize to my oath. Or something.
お前も魔術師の端くれならば知っていよう。
Should know about it if you are Magus. He's only half Magus. He's only half Druish.
ユートピア。ギリシャ語でたどり着けない場所という意味を持つそこには、願いを叶える万能の釜があるとされた。
You should know about it if you're a Magus. Utopia. Utopia? I prefer in the Japanese version where he's called Hope. Because I'm like, yeah, I believe in hope. And in English they call him Utopia. And I'm like, first of all, that's 2 extra syllables. Why? Second of all, hope just sounds more triumphant and cooler. Utopia, generally I think of utopia as like bad futures, like people that think it's utopia, but it actually sucks. Whereas hope is something I'm actually more hopeful for. Anyways, you get tangents. It means an unreachable place in Greek. It is said that an omnipotent vessel exists there. Okay. Omnipotent vessel. But if it's an unreachable place, so did someone make it in the unreachable place, or did we make it reachable?
このあらゆる神話の根底にある万能の釜を再現しようとした魔術師たちがいた。
And there were magi who tried to reproduce this omnipotent vessel. And that's what gave us our version of the Grail, I guess, is what you're saying? But they can't do it right. So they can't actually make the Grail, they just make the vessel for the Grail, or something like that. 1 plus 3 equals 5, sometimes.
それがアインツベルン、マキリ、遠坂の三家だ。
Oh, he triggered me. He triggered me with a fancy word. Makiri! It comes back! Makiri's a family. We didn't have confirmation. There it is. There were the 3 families. Ainsburn, Makiri, and Tosaka. Ainsburn and Tosaka we obviously know well, but Makiri, interesting. Okay. I talked about a while ago, like, what is Makiri? And I was like, well, okay, it seems like Shinji was forced into it, possibly by this Makiri person. And so I guess the Makiri you think would be part of the war, but maybe couldn't be part of the war normally because they had no trueborns or whatever. So maybe Makiri, for some reason, had to force Shinji into it and made Shinji do it. Why Shinji though? Shinji just seems like such a pats. Maybe there's got to be something there where Shinji trained at this Makiri household, or maybe he was forced to train. Maybe it relates to maybe him and Sakura had some weird thing in the past where Shinji or something or other. Maybe the Matos are like a branch family of the Makiris, and the Makiris didn't have any good heirs. So the Makiris are like, hey Matos, you shits, we're gonna take your heir. Or something like that. It is a copy of whatever the true omnipower was. Shinji was maybe a representative of the Makiri. Yeah, I guess that would make sense, but like Shinji seems like such a little shit. Like, why would the Makiris want him? Apparently they forced him into it, it seems like. Why though? Does he have some kind of like... Okay, there's 2 things here, because if they forced him into it, why? Because he seems like such a little shit. Why do you want him? I feel like that you have to be getting something from extension by getting him. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe if the theory that like a part of the shard of the Shikon Jewel, a part of the shard of the Grail, if it got separated and part of it went to Shiro and part of it went to Sakura, maybe they found out that part of it went to Sakura, and so they're like, oh Shinji, you have to do this, because if you don't, we'll kill your sister and take the Grail, something like that. Oh. And I talked about how he seems to not like his, like, Shinji, I don't know, like, did he like his sister in some degree? Maybe he had a creepy like for her. Maybe he hated her. Like, towards the end, I never got a clear read. I thought, like, I was starting to get a read that maybe he didn't even like his sister very much, or he was jealous of his sister, or I'm not sure enough. And we've never gotten back to see what Sakura's thoughts are on Shinji. And I want to see that, and we're like completely ignoring that. And I feel like we're at the end of the pathway. I almost feel like we're going to get to the end of the pathway and never see the answer to that question. And if we do, then that makes me think the answer to that question is some kind of plot twist. Maybe he was a disposable pawn for whatever true plan the Makiri family has. Maybe as a distraction. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Like, if there were like 2 masters, because we haven't seen all the masters. Some of them apparently got killed off screen. That's another thought I had, is that, you know, Shinji was made as a decoy master, where Makiri was his own separate master, or had some other master he cared more about with Shinji as a decoy. I did think about that, and we haven't seen all the masters, so I guess that's not disproven yet. It's possible Assassin's Master, or Caster's Master, or Lancer's Master. Any of them could maybe be Makiri. But if that is the case, he didn't get a chance to make his move in this pathway, and maybe only in another pathway will Makiri do anything at all? Maybe. Maybe. Macarena. So they were a family. They are a family. Interesting that Ainsburn and Tosaka have been so prominent. Makiri's Definitely the one hiding in the shadows by comparison. Interesting. Okay. This does make... I feel like has to be something... And the Matos themselves, though, were apparently supposed to be a magical family, but their magic ran dry or whatever. So, it's so weird. It's so weird that, like, oh, what if the Makiris... I don't know. Like, why take advantage of the Matos like this if they're out of magic? Why use Shinji? What's the point? Like, even if he's a decoy, why not get a better decoy? I feel like there has to be some connection between the Makiris and Matos on some deeper level. Like, maybe the Matos are like a branch family of the Makiris or something. Because otherwise, like, it just seems so odd to pick Shinji, who himself doesn't have that much magic. Maybe with the appearance of Gilgamesh, the Makiri family backed out of the war, cutting their losses. Oh, because they're too afraid of him? I guess. I know we don't know who Assassins and Casters or Lancer's Master. I said that already. Any of those could be Makiri or a puppet of Makiri. The idea that the Makiris backed out is, I don't know. Like, maybe they backed out. Maybe Makiri is like a very indirect family. Maybe, if that's the case, then maybe Makiri never wanted to join the war itself because maybe Makiri was afraid of dying. Maybe whoever the Makiri heir is right now is very, like, you know, he likes his own mortality and doesn't want to risk it in the war. So he's throwing some potsies in there. I would think he would put in more than one horse in the race, though. Shinji seems like an odd choice. So maybe he has another one in there, or at least he did, but maybe they got killed off screen. Possibly. Or Lancer's Master could be that Makiri. Maybe fucking, you know... I said this a while back, and I've got nothing to disprove it with how fucking unimportant he's been so far. Kuzuki, Soichiro, maybe he's, like, you know, being used by the Makiris or something. I don't know. Thoughts, theories, ideas. Frickin' Gilgamesh isn't even listed in voices. So, like, I just see someone like this guy listed, like Kuzuki, and fucking Gilly isn't even listed, and it's like, okay, really, okay. Anyways. Ainsburn, Makiri, and Tosaka. Laugh if Kazuki was legit just a normal teacher. What, and they just put him in fucking voices to fuck with me? I don't think the game would do that. If they were gonna do that, I feel like the better idea would have been to just put everyone in voices and not bother with the other section. I feel like if you're gonna red herring me, please don't red herring me with interface. Like, don't lie to me with the interface. That would bug me. Like, you can lie to me in the game, I guess, if that makes sense. But if you're gonna red herring me, please don't do it with your interface. I feel like that's cheating. Anyways.
連中は何代かにわたって万能の釜を再現する儀式を模索し、200年前にそれを完成させた。
They spent many generations researching the ritual to reproduce the omnipotent vessel and completed it 200 years ago. Okay, so they made this vessel, and this was the Grail, or their version of the Grail, and that's when the war started? 200? That feels like too many. Because 10 years ago was the 4th. I don't know, maybe it's every 30. Well, I guess if it's like every 50. Even if it's every 50 years, though, the first one would have been only about 160 years ago, theoretically. And I thought they said only 30, but it might have been 50. But even if it is 50, that's not a whole 200, but I don't know. Unless you're saying, I don't know. I'm assuming you're talking about our version of the Grail, but maybe you mean a predecessor to even our version. And maybe that version broke and we have a new version, and so that's why there's a precedent for Grails breaking and restarting or something?
それが一度目の聖杯戦争。
okay.
人工物に過ぎない聖杯に万能の釜を降霊させ、道を開こうとした儀式だった。
Holy Grail War, the ritual that summoned the omnipotent vessel to the artificial Holy Grail to open up the path. Okay, fair, but So I guess the years are definitely varied, and it wasn't always just 50 years. Sometimes it was like 60 or 70 or 80, possibly. And the first one is where there was no real rules, right? It was just like it took 7 to summon them, but there's 3 families. So there's 3 families. Maybe each family had 2 or 3 people that were part of it, like, because there were a lot of Magus. It was more popular back. Well, no, because they said you generally only pass on to one person. But maybe back in the day, everyone did all the magic, even because there was less of a need to blend in with society. Maybe. So maybe there was, like, 2, 2, and 3. Or maybe there were 4 other, like, schmutz mages that weren't very big names. And then they had to fight each other because it would only give itself to one person. Ritual summon the omnipotent vessel of the artificial holy grail to open up the path.
アインツベルンそれってイリアの家のことか
Einsburn, you mean Ilia's family, and Tosaka, Rin's family. Were they using this grail to find a way to break into paradise to get access to the true omnipotent vessel? I mean, they're mages. I think they just want to flood their power. I think the whole idea was they just wanted to see if they could. The scientific thing, only with magic. Like, they have magic, they want to reach the ends of their magic. Where can this magic take us? How much further could it take us? That whole thing. And once they got there, they couldn't stop. And then the girl's like, oh, only give me to one of you. And then they're like, well, I guess it should be me because pride. I think first it was about just seeing what they could do. And then once they saw that, and the girl's like, only one of you. Well, they're like, well, we have to be the ones to do it because pride. Greed, lust, envy.
そうだ。アインツベルンはラインの黄金とやらの伝承に長けていてな。
Yes, the Einsburn
聖杯の模造品を作る技術は神業だった。
specialized in the golden rule of the line. Golden rule? The golden rule is treat others the way you want to be treated. They were the best suited to make an imitation of the Holy Grail. You hear that, Shiro? If you're supposed to treat others the way you want to be treated, you should start killing people more often.
だが、それだけでは聖杯を呼び出すことはできん。
But they cannot summon the Holy Grail with just that.
ふさわしい土地と強力な呪縛が必要となる。
They need a suitable land and a strong curse. A suitable land, okay, and a strong curse? The curse as in a magic curse they make, or some other curse that's pre-existing?
それらを提供したのが遠坂とマキリだ。
Okay. The ones who provided those were Tosaka and the Makiri. So which one provided the curse and which one provided the land?
当時、教会と魔術協会は係争の真っ最中だったからな。儀式には教会の目が届かない極東の地が選ばれた。
Far Eastern land. Would that be the Makiri land? Maybe that's why we haven't really seen the Makiris much? I forget if Rin said... I feel like Rin... no, because Rin said, like, this is my home turf. This is the Tosaka land or whatever. So I think this is supposed to be Tosaka's place. So maybe Makiri's place is elsewhere. And then Einsburn's... They're up in, like, you know, the Europe area, I guess. At that time, the Church and the Magic Association were in the middle of a bloody war. Right. A far eastern land was chosen as the place for the ritual. And I guess that's the Makiri place then. I assume Tosaka provided the land, since Rin said she was the second owner of this land. I don't think it's this land, though, because we're just saying here now, an far eastern land, so... Although, technically, we do talk about how Eastern, you know, Japan is Eastern, and America is Western, but I think he means Eastern relative to where we are now. I think?
アインツベルンはそれを見越して遠坂を仲間に引き入れたのだろう。
Oh.
遠坂はここ一帯の霊地の持ち主であり、その死は高霊術の対価だった。
Never mind. Einsburn must have invited Tosaka in because Tosaka was in charge of the land around here, and their master was a master of summoning. Ah, well, never mind everything I just said. Like, when he says Far Eastern land, I assume you mean Far Eastern from where you are located. Never mind, I guess you're referring to yourself as the East. Okay, so I guess Makiri were the cursor worsers. So Makiri did cursing? Sounds sketchy.
アインツベルンとしては、遠坂なくして聖杯召喚は不可能だった。
For Einsburn, the summoning of the Holy Grail would be impossible without the help of Tosaka. But they needed Makiri as well? And, interesting. Interesting. So I guess that's why the Grail Wars always take place here, because it was their lion that they used? I suppose. Interesting that Japan was chosen because it was so away from the big shots of the magic world. I guess that makes sense. So the big war was going on like more in the Americas or the Europes or the whatever. And they wanted to stay out of that, and Japan was more of a neutral place, I guess.
だが、二つの家だけでは容易に裏切りが起きてしまう。
But betrayal could easily occur with two families involved. Indeed.
ことは三すくみにすべきだと考えたのか。遠坂はマキリの家系にもこの話を持ち込んだ。
They must have thought three should be involved as they also brought in the Makiri family. Yeah, I'd say that makes a decent amount of sense, you know, like if you want to betray the family you're working with, if you're working with two families and you betray one, then the other one, you don't know whose side they're going to take, so there's some sense to that, I suppose, or at least if you are going to betray one, you probably should try to make an alliance with the other one, but, and that could be awkward potentially, so betrayals are still possible, but, less easy to pull off, so I'd say it's probably a good idea.
マキリも長い年月を持つ名門でな。
The Makiris are a family with history as well.
こと使い魔に関しては優れた技法を持っていた。サーバントを縛る霊樹を作り上げたのもマキリだ。
They were the family most skilled with familiars. Interesting then that Ilya wanted to turn me into a familiar. It was they that came up with the command spell to bind the servants. Okay, that's interesting. They came up with the command spell. Does that mean... Would they have the potential to maybe use command spells on, just other things, not counting the whole servants and stuff? Even if they came up with the process, would they able to just be, if you can do it on a servant, and a servant is really fucking strong, couldn't you potentially use a command spell and bind anything to it? The Makiri is probably gifted with whatever power Shinji had over Ryder. I don't know if Shinji had any power over Ryder. Like, Ryder might have just been going along for the ride. It didn't seem like she had any issues with what Shinji was doing. At first I questioned her obedience because she's apparently got a good alignment. And I thought maybe she was fully controlled or something. But after seeing more of her character, unless she was fully brainwashed to even act differently, and act out of character, and maybe she is more of a good person, we just didn't know it. The way she acted later on seemed like, no, she is just the kind of dick that would normally serve Shinji, because she also just doesn't like people, is what it seems to have built towards. But I don't know, maybe the Makiris forced Shinji to join the war by using one of the command seals or something, being like, hey, you have no choice, you have to work for us. And that's how he forced Shinji into it? He or she? I mean, usually when you think of, smelly, old, magical farts, you think of men, but it could be a woman.
そうして連中は聖杯召喚に一致団結したわけだが、いざ成功してみれば、残ったのは潰し合いだ。
To summon the Holy Grail, but when they succeeded, what came after was bloody killing. You've basically said this more or less back when we first talked, although I guess there's some more added details this time.
一度目の聖杯の降霊は連中が戦っている間に終わってしまったらしいな。
The first summoning the Holy Grail ended while they were busy fighting. Okay.
そうして代を重ね、聖杯戦争というルールを作り、形だけは元の協力関係に戻った。
As generations passed, they made rules called the Holy Grail War and went back to cooperating, at least in form. Make it so things don't break down all the time. Have something of a peace that's only temporarily broken for the sake of the Grail, and only with like one person each instead of whole troves and groups fighting against each other. Makes it less civilized. Makes it more civilized, I suppose. Still, the rules clearly show some of the pride in there, because they could have just made it so the rules were a fight between servants, leave the masters out of it. But they had to add the master aspect into, because fucking there's the pride of it, and also, well, it's more strategically valuable, and it makes it more interesting in the game if you can also take out enemy masters, because you could still potentially use their servants. Which, yes, sort of from a game standpoint, it makes it more interesting, but, from a, ethics standpoint, it's kind of forked, but at least it's not as forked as it was back when there were no rules at all, but...
当坂はこの土地とサーバントを形作るシステムを提供し、マキリはサーバントを縛るレイジを提供した。
Can't imagine how bloody the first war would be if whole factions were brought in. Probably, yeah. It would actually be a real war. It would be worthy of the name war. The only reason this can be worthy of the name war in any way is because there are servants that with super overpowered powers fighting each other, and it looks fancy. You could sort of kind of be like, this is a war. Really, it's just a fancy battle, but sure. It's a legacy name, because the original one really was a war. Tosaka provided this land and the system to model the servants, and Makiri provided the command spell to bind these servants. And then Einsburn themselves summoned the vessel of the Grail?
そしてアインツベルンは聖杯が宿る器を用意する。
And Einsburn supplies the vessel for the Holy Grail to dwell in. And I think the idea was that the vessel in the Fourth War was Ilya's mummy, if I'm understanding correctly. But it would be weird if Ilya is the new vessel, I think, just because she is a master. I don't know. To me, the idea of the master being a vessel is very odd, if I'm being honest, but I don't know. Maybe that's the route they're going. I hope it's not, because I don't want her to, polymorph into a cup forever. That is the cooperation they decided on. The priest continues happily, as if something pleases him. Okay. Maybe Shiro is a Makiri, and he doesn't remember his past before the fire, because, or whatever, and so he's Emiya, but he's actually Shiro Makiri. I see. I don't think so. That's just a random thing I threw out there, but no, I don't actually think so. I see. They say the Holy Grail War is a ritual, but Ilya's family was the original possessor. Sure. But, it was the original proposer, sure, but only with Tosaka and Makiri's, cooperation. So it makes sense why they would have the most pride in this war. Now, there are other magical families that I guess would care about it, like maybe the Matos, or, I'm sure there's other magical families I'm not thinking of, but those would be the ones with the most pride in it, as they're the ones who started it. She was forced to turn to a cup. The only way to save Ilya is somehow stop the Grail War prematurely. Sure, let's do that. I mean, nobody has a good fucking wish anyways. And generally, the Grail isn't happy enough to give itself to anyone anyways. So let's just stop, okay? Because everybody either people don't have a wish or their wish is stupid. So let's just stop.
聖杯を用意したのはアインツベルンだからな。
It was the Einsburns that prepared the Holy Grail.
前回切り継ぎに裏切られた彼らは最強の切り札を投入してきた。おそらくアインツベルンの娘が聖杯を持っているのだろう。
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. Or if you do say that, maybe make her strong enough that she can survive her giving birth to the Grail, as it were, because she's stronger than her mummy, maybe? It was the Einsburns that prepared the Holy Grail, as they were betrayed by Kiritsugu last time. Betrayal is a strong word. I guess it's accurate. He did have a chance to get it, and then just, didn't because the Grail was being a douche. But, yeah, I guess from their perspective, he betrayed them. I still like his actions, but I can see why they'd be salty about it. They have thrown in their greatest trump card. The daughter of Einsburn probably holds the Holy Grail. Okay. I can sort of see the logic behind her holding the Grail, even though I don't want it to be true. But how is that their greatest trump card exactly? Is she just naturally gifted? What makes her specifically their greatest trump card? Because in theory, they would have had, other Einsburns before them. And, she's only been alive for so many years. Was she always planned to be a trump card, or did she, when she was brought up, was she, randomly awesome and the Einsburns didn't predict it, or was she planned to be awesome? And that's so, is the trump card intentional or coincidental? And if it is, if she is the trump card, they wouldn't want to waste her by, turning her into a cup. Hybrid shenanigans? Oh, that's right, because she's not necessarily entirely human, which, yeah, so maybe she was made to be the trump card. Maybe that was intentional. That's fair. Uh-huh. And she seems to at least be more successful than her mummy, because her mummy was strong with magic, but I think Ilia's even stronger despite being younger. But at the same time, her mummy, you know, it wasn't until that she was, you know, more of an adulter that things happened, whereas with her, it seems to be happening at her young age, and... Well, if it does happen, I hope she survives the pregnancy. Dash question mark? It's a weird system. It's a weird system. If this is how the cup has always been summoned, like the Ainsburns have always done this, it just feels odd that their chosen champion would be the one with the cup inside them. They want the Holy Grail no matter the cost, since they've been waiting for at least 200 plus years. Not all of them, unless some of them have some kind of immortality magic. You know, I'd say that they should be, like, none of them that are alive are really waiting. They would have been waiting maybe all their lives, but not all their lives, because when they're babies, they wouldn't know to care about it. Maybe 50, 60 years they've been waiting, but, like, you know, 200 plus, you know, I imagine they'll be happy to sacrifice their card for the Grail. But how does that even work? I feel like that's such a dumb idea. If they did do that, if they put the cup in her, but then made her the master, what are you doing? Because the cup's gonna come out, and then how is she gonna claim it? She's gonna, like, the cup, she's not gonna be able to claim it if the cup kills her. Yeah, I know, the lineage and the bloodline, heritage, blah, 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 I get it. But, it just seems weird to put the cup in her if she's their, like, ace in the hole. I would see, like, if she was going to be the master, I would think they would put the cup in someone else. Or if she has the cup, I would think they'd make someone else the master. Just like how last time, they didn't make the mummy the master, they had Kiritsugu come in and be the master. Now, maybe the idea is they felt betrayed by outsourcing, so they didn't want to outsource this time, and they had no one better to choose than the person that they were going to make turn into the cup. It just feels like bad forethought. Because how are they going to win? Because she's never going to be able to claim it. Because, like, to claim it, she would have to, like, I don't know, maybe she can survive the pregnancy, but would they anticipate her surviving it? Because I don't know. I don't remember the details exactly. I don't remember if it killed her mom. I don't remember if her mom, I think she died. I don't remember it happening, to be honest. The memories are vivid, but, I don't think she's alive anymore. So I think she died. I don't know if the process killed her, but if it did, like, if the process usually kills them, then why would they get... It just feels backwards. Anyways, dash question mark. I don't want it to happen because I like Ilia, but also it would feel weird from... Anyways, yeah. And I'm hoping that the fact that it feels weird means maybe there's, like, gonna be a twist, and it won't happen, and she'll be okay, because I want her to be okay, because she's my waifu. Ilia? Excuse me. Ilia has the Holy Grail? That would be convenient. That would be an easy win for the Ainsburns if she just, you know, had it without having it. It's easy to protect the cup if the person holding it is their own greatest one. Sure, but it was... no chance of betrayal. There's still chance of betrayal. She's already sort of sided with Shiro, so I think she's already betrayed them. I assume Ainsburn have a way to claim the Grail after their death. I guess. That sounds gross, though. Fuck the Ainsburns for their stupid tradition. I mean, I get it, and I can't hold it against them personally. Well, no, I can hold it against them personally, and I will. I just can't hold it against them. You know, like, if this is how they make the Grail and they want their magic artifact, I get it. But personally, I like Ilia, so I don't want it to happen. So fuck you, Ainsburns. You jerks. I guess it's true that they probably have some way, but it just feels weird. Like, if they do have some way, I almost feel like that's cheating. Just because, what, they're the ones who make it? They have some cheating way to get it? Anyways. That's weird. It is weird. I don't think she had anything with her. Oh, gosh. Cheese and crackers. Oh gosh, and cheese and crackers. The moral of this story so far is fuck all the Magus families, they ruin the ones they raise. Yeah. Yeah. How do they time this shit out, though? Because, like, it's normally supposed to be 30, 50 years or whatever, or... So, like, what, they... But, like, it's only been 10 years. How does that work? Okay. I assumed that maybe the idea was they put the Grail in from birth. It makes the most logical sense that the creator of the war would have backdoors into the war. Fucking cheaters. I assumed that if they were gonna do that, like, I assumed that the way it worked with the mummy, back when I saw that twist, which I don't fully remember, but I think I remember at the time assuming that the idea was that, you know, the Grail was, like, created with her, and, like, she had it with her at birth, and it, like, grew up with her, and it came out at the time when it was ripe or whatever, but that doesn't jive with what we... Unless, like... I guess the idea is that there isn't just one Grail, there's multiple, and the Einsburns can keep making them. But that objects with the notion that there's another one so soon just because the last one went south. Like, if this Grail has been with Elia since birth, then that means that while the mother still had a Grail inside her or whatever, then the daughter also had another Grail, so there was already multiple Grails going on, unless the daughter didn't have it since birth, which was sort of the idea that I had, that the mother would have also had it, like they all had it since birth, but maybe they don't, and it gets put in later. But if they are putting in these Grails, and the idea is that we wait until it's ripe, maybe okay, in that case, maybe the reason that the Grail War is happening so soon is because Ilya's a prodigy, and maybe when they normally make their vessels or whatever, it usually takes them like a good 30 or so years to ripen, and maybe that's why it's 200 years ago was the first one, because maybe, you know, maybe when they first did it, they weren't very good at it, and their first one took, like, you know, took to the end of their lifespan at like 80 to get a ripe Grail, but then after that they were able to, like, be snappy, get them much quicker, and started to make them, like, you know, then they went from being like 80 to, like, you know, 50 to 30, and now this one's like a prodigy of prodigies, so it's already ripe even though she's so young, and that's why we're already holding the Grail War. I suppose that would explain also some of Ilya's extremely strong powers, because maybe she has some, if the Grail is inside her and she can, like, harness it to an extent, then maybe that's why she's so strong. Maybe all of the past Einsburns that had Grails inside them weren't prodigies and couldn't really control it. Maybe Ilya has some level of control, and that's why she's so strong. Once the mother died, the Einsburn just stuffed Ilya with a Grail. I don't know, like, where did they get the Grail? I think the idea is that there is no one Grail, or maybe there is, but the Grail has a consciousness that leaps around so long as there's an appropriate vessel. I don't know, the scientist in me thinks that the best way for them to have done it would be to inject the Grail into them from birth so that it grows up with them, and then eventually the consciousness of the Grail, or whatever, if it's like a conscious being sort of thing, leaps into the appropriate vessel that they've provided. But, it would, I don't know, injecting partway seems weird to me. Makes sense why she was such an infomaster since she holds the Grail and freaked out when seeing Gil, because the Grail didn't summon Gil. Yeah, her Grail didn't. Her mother's Grail would have summoned Gil. That's true. In that case, maybe if she is super knowledgeable about things as a result of the Grail being inside her and just being super great and knowing everything, then maybe she was like, no, like, because she was so weird with both archers. Because with the first archer, she didn't seem to know anything. If she gets info from... I feel like she's just good at figuring things out. I don't want to diminish... Like, it still could just be extremely powerful and drawing knowledge from the Grail. That's another kind of figuring things out. But it doesn't explain how she didn't know anything about this archer either. Like, Gilgamesh, sure, he wasn't summoned from her Grail, so she just wouldn't know anything and she would freak out. But the other archer, she didn't know anything about either. Seemingly no one knows anything about her, about him. Maybe he's from some alternate timeline or something. But if that's the case, where's the actual seventh servant that's supposed to be summoned from her Grail? It's just interesting to think about. And I think that pokes holes into the idea that it's the Grail giving her this information, necessarily. Unless there is some seventh servant. Maybe there's going to be a third fucking archer. Like, there's the Archer from another timeline, there's the Archer from another Grail War, and then we have our Archer you just haven't met yet. I don't know. Or maybe our Archer got shifted to a different timeline, and we got another timeline's Archer. And so there was a mismatch. Yeah. The scientist in me likes to think about how the vessel is molded and all that. And I feel like it would make the most sense if the Grail was, like, created with the person, as opposed to being supplanted later on, but... The true Archer. Who is the one true Archer? Shiro's the true Archer, of course, because in the future he becomes both Archers. He becomes Gilgamesh too, didn't you know? That's weird, I don't think she had anything with her.
さて、これで気は済んだか？お前が何を悩むのかは私には知り得ない。
Well, are you happy now? I do not know what troubles you. I just don't want my waifu to turn into a cup. But also, that's the other scary thought, though, is that if she's gaining knowledge from the Grail, does she know where she's gaining knowledge from? Does she know where her power comes from? Does she know she's gonna turn into a fucking cup? Because that's some scary-ass shit. Part of me is like, well, I hope she doesn't, because then she can maybe enjoy more with her ignorance. But it also means it's gonna creep up on her out of nowhere, and it's going to be an unpleasant experience versus, and she's really bad at dealing with like foreseen occurrences, so that's scary. The other alternative is that she does know, and so she just wants to make the best of the time she has with her Oni-chan Shiro before eventually she turns into the cup, and that would suck though, because that would mean like any joy she has is so fleeting, and I guess all joy is fleeting, we're all gonna die when we hit 100 or something. But it's so much more fleeting if, you die at 20 or whatever, and you will. And even with her, compared to the other cup ladies, I'm assuming they're all ladies. I don't know, just, confirmation bias. I've seen two that are ladies, I'm assuming they're all ladies. At least her mummy got to, like, 30 or 40 or whatever. I've exposited for hours now. Let me fucking sleep, Emiya. Depends if the Ainsberg treated Ilya as a member of the family or a tool. Totally like a tool. She was always a tool. Of course she was. Maybe they'd have some resentment for her since her father was Kiritsugu. Yeah, that always felt a little weird to me. Like, the biology is interesting. Like, are they a line of cups? Because that's the other thing. Are they a line of cups? Like, if her mummy is a cup, is her mummy's mummy also a cup? And if that's the case, does she need a chance to have her own child so that her child can be a cup? Because if she dies before she never has a cup child, then isn't making a new cup child going to be harder? I just think, maybe it's easier if the cup has a cup child, but it's still possible to make a cup from nothing? Because I feel like she hasn't been given a chance to have a new cup child. So what I'm saying is, before she dies, Shiro has to fuck her so she can have a new cup child. For the next war, for the Ainsbergs to abuse. What? Half-blood freak, go die in a war and turn to a cup. Jeez. I suppose, yeah, the whole, Kiritsugu thing. I mean, from the start, I assumed all these magical... Like, the Ainsbergs definitely seem like, based on how I've talked to Ilya, based on her talks, she definitely seems like someone who's grown up in a family that just treated her like a thing, and she accepted that she was just a thing. Now, she takes pride in being a very strong tool, but she thought of herself as just a tool, at least until, Shiro started expressing some emotions. Like, Shiro brought that side out because, she enjoyed her time with her mother and her papa, and then she wanted to kill Shiro initially because it's like, you're an Emiya, my father betrayed me, so you're supposed to die. But then when it actually came to happen and Berserker almost killed him, like, she fucking freaked out because it's like, no, I liked my father, and I could like you too, maybe. And there was that confliction for a bit until eventually she was severed from her connection to Ainsberg, and now she can actually just give in and, hang out with Shiro. But that makes me all the more sad if she knows that her end is coming, potentially. Then, I even more I would want Shiro to spend all of the time with her. But, anyways, are you happy now? I do not know what troubles you. I hope that if the cup does come out of her, that she survives it because of her prodigial nature. I hope she survives the childbirth.
だが解決する手段は聖杯のみだ。それが分かったのなら早々に帰るがいい。
90% of her hatred for Kiritsugu might have come from her family. Yeah, there was probably some of that, but I don't know, I think that was more personal. The fact that she was or at least her liking Kiritsugu was more real. It's possible that, you know, hating Emiya, I feel like it was more personal. No, it had to be more personal, because even when Shiro didn't join the Grail War, she still fucking killed him. So, maybe hating Emiya in general was something that the, Ainsburns baked into her a little bit. But I feel like hating Shiro specifically is something she had to work out on her own, I feel, because she went out of her way to kill him even when he didn't join the war. So, yeah, my thought is that her hatred for Emiya and Kiritsugu, and then eventual swooning for Shiro, you know, the love-hate relationship was, I feel like, more real. I think 90% is too big of a number. There's definitely some percentage, but I don't think it's 90. I think it's maybe 50. Anyways, the only way to solve this is to use the Holy Grail. Now that you know that, go home.
戦いはまだ終わっていない。セーバーもつけずに出歩くのは正気の沙汰ではないぞ。
The battle is not yet over. You're crazy to be walking around without having Saber by your side. That's what I fucking said. Come on, Kirei, high five. Smart boys.
余計なお世話だ。まだランサーのマスターが残っていることぐらい。
That's none of your business. I know there's still Lancer's master. And what, is he gonna respond? Nope, Kirei, he's gone. It's just you and fucking Gilgamesh. I assume that's why he's being cut off. Hold on. There's one more thing I need to ask him. Oh, never mind. Okay. That cutoff made me think Lancer was donezo.
ことみね、聖杯が消えればサーバントも消える。
Kotomine. Servants will disappear once the Holy Grail disappears. Be quite a choice if you could save Saber from her fate, but it would cost Ilya's life. I wouldn't do it. Fuck you, man. If I was given that choice, nope. I would save Ilya and kiss, marry, kill. You know where my priorities lie. I would like to try to make everyone happy, but if I can't, if I have to choose between Ilya and Saber, I'm choosing Ilya. If they let me, if they give me that choice, my choice is already made, man. Servants will disappear once the Holy Grail disappears.
あんたはそう言ったな。
That's what you said, right?
言ったが、何か問題でも。
Yes, do you have a problem with that?
終わりだ。何者かは知らないが、8人目のサーファントがいた。セイバーの話じゃ、あいつは前回からずっとこの場に残ってるって話だぞ。
Kirei would know this guy well. I do. I don't know who it is, but there's an 8th servant. According to Saber, he has remained in this world since the previous war. If Shiro was stuck in that choice, he'd probs choose Saber and live in even more death-seeking guilt for the rest of his life after sacrificing Ilya. Yeah, based on his character so far, if he's not given a choice and just chooses it for me because it's his story, then I would probably see him choosing Saber and sacrificing Ilya and then hating himself even more. I could definitely see that happening. I don't want it to happen though, because I like Ilya. So fuck that choice, please. don't do that. Nani? Is that real? Is that real surprise? Or are you good at playing the role? I assume you'd know about this. I mean, I'm pretty sure you know about Gilly winning at the end. Maybe you just didn't know that Gilly still has his powers, or you thought Gilly was somewhere else and didn't know he was in the area. Because you definitely know about him. This feels like a genuine reaction, but maybe you're a good faker. Maybe you planned this. Maybe you expected Shiro would ask about it, so you planned this. This feels like a good reaction. Must have been a surprise. It definitely seems like that. The reaction feels genuine, so either he saw your question coming, or he didn't know. Because I feel like he wouldn't react that way on the fly. I don't know. I don't think he's that good at playing improv speed chess. Is Kirei the mastermind play acting? Or is he still the mastermind in a fucking familiar storm just rolled into your turf? Even if he didn't know, I think he's going to incorporate it into his plans immediately now that he does. Kotomine opens his eyes and mutters in disbelief. Is this genuine?
どういうことだ、ことみね。 あんたなら少しはわかると思ってきたん
What's
だぞ。
going on? I came here since I thought you would know. Do you know Kirei? Are you planning on an act, or do you... I mean, you definitely know about Gilly, but maybe you didn't know that he was here?
消えなかったサーバントがいるということだな。
So, you're saying there's a servant that did not disappear?
そう不思議ではあるまい。前回の戦いはセーバーが聖杯を破壊することで終わったのだ。
It's not that strange. The previous war ended with Saber destroying the Holy Grail. I mean, what's the difference, though? Maybe, like, you say, oh, the war ended because Saber destroyed it, and so it couldn't be, properly fulfilled. But if it's destroyed it, is that better than it disappearing? Does that mean it still sort of stayed around in pieces within, like, Shiro or something? Huh? If I have some of the Grail inside me, and Ilya has the Grail inside me, we could be, like, Grail fuck buddies. Because here's the thing, nobody apparently has gotten a wish, from what we know, because the Grail is picky, so even, like, in the worlds before the fourth one, even if it wasn't destroyed, if it still didn't give its wish to anyone and disappeared, I feel like that's no different unless the Grail, like, always stayed around. And the only way that would happen is maybe if part of it is in, I don't know, in Shiro, or it's somehow still secretly around, but there's also a new Grail, so there might be double Grail action. Grail X Grail, High School Grail X Grail. Has been 10 years since the last war. Maybe he's improved his acting. Oh, I'm sure he's a good actor, for sure. He just, at least back then, he liked to plan his plays, as it were. He liked to plan his routines. Maybe he's gotten better at improv, or maybe this is all a plan. Maybe this was planned.
つまり、セーバーの他にもう一人、サーバントは残っていた。
In other words, there was still another servant left.
セイバーは潔く消えたが、そのサーバントが限界することを望んだのなら、
Saber disappeared by her own will. By her own will? As in she could have stayed? I don't think so. I think the explosion killed her. As in she could have stayed, but chose not to because she just wanted to hurry up and skip, like do a time skip and bring me to the next war. I guess I do know that feeling of, I don't want to wait this out. Just, time skip me, bring me to the next war. I can sort of understand the idea of, just time skip my work. Just let me only live out my fun times and time skip. Well, my work I do think is kind of fun. But, anyways. Rin had to learn her chess master improv from someone. Oh, just... what, from Kirei? Maybe. She doesn't really like Kirei, but maybe she did learn some of that from him. I doubt he would have revealed too much of his tricks to her, though. Like, the trick where he made her daddy disappear.
それは魂を食らうことで魔力を補い、この10年間生き続けたのだろう。
He must have acquired magical energy by feeding on souls and lived these past 10 years. I thought the Grail just gave him energy, and now you're just saying that he killed a bunch of people to stay alive? I wouldn't doubt it. He's definitely the kind of person that thinks that highly of himself, that I'm sure he would do that. But did he have to? I assumed the Grail just, let him be, but maybe not.
そんなバカな。あいつの気配は異常だった。
That's ridiculous. His presence was absurd, and yeah, for him to have lived these past 10 years just off of soul hunting, with him being that strong, that'd be a lot of soul energy he'd need to get. Like, who's he been busy killing, if that's the case?
あんなのが10年間もいたら、親父だってあんただって気がつくはずだ。
Oh, I think this is the first time Shiro's mentioning his father to Kirei, at least, in the magical sense. Maybe the reason why Gil is still servant here, because he ate souls to keep his power up. Maybe the Grail kept him around, but he ate souls so that he kept his power? I suppose. If what the Grail gave was all that was needed, then Saber would not need Shiro's thingamabob. Thingamabob? What, his dick? I'm confused. If what the Grail gives was all that was needed, well, yeah. But that's assuming the Grail doesn't disappear, right? In theory? His presence was absurd. You or my father certainly would have noticed if that thing had been around for 10 years. Well, Kiritsugu wanted no part in it, but Kirei probably would have noticed.
分かっている。おそらくかくまっている者がいたのだろう。そのサーバントのマスターか。
I know.
もしくは。
Okay, now this is definitely a lie. Someone, well, not necessarily a lie, maybe a half-truth. Someone was probably hiding him. So what, you? The servant's master, that would be you? Or...
もしくは、なんだよ。
or what?
聖杯戦争を知りながらマスターの資格を持ち得なかった魔術師だ。
A magus who knew about the Holy Grail War but did not become a master. Is this you doing a red herring? Or is this something to be genuinely thought about? Magus who knew about the Holy Grail War but did not become a master. Like Makiri? Maybe this is Makiri's endgame. Maybe Makiri is the one controlling Gilgamesh. Or not controlling him, but maybe making deals with him in a curtain. I mean, because I know Fate Zero, I think that it's more you are making deals with him, but maybe Makiri's involved somehow too. If I didn't know Fate Zero, probably my best guess would be that Gilly was secretly involved with Makiri, because Makiri doesn't seem to be involved in this war from what we know, but... Kirei or Makiri, or both. They might both be, yeah, it might be a threesome. Gilly might be playing with both of them.
そういった人物には一人心当たりがあるのだが、
There it is.
それもないな。
I think Kirei's given
マキリ
me...
のご老体はとうに隠居している。
I think Kirei's given me a red herring. I think he's trying to mislead me, but it's actually Kirei that's been working with Gilly this whole time. I think Makiri does have a part to play in this Grail War, but I don't think it's related to Gilgamesh. I think we're supposed to think that, but we're also not supposed to know that Kirei was Gilgamesh's master, probably, so... I know one such person, but that's impossible as well. The old Makiri is already retired. Does the Makiri have any heirs? Interesting, the old Makiri. Where is this old Makiri? Because the idea that he's already retired is already, we know, it's kind of slanted somewhat because he seemingly made a play at Shinji, which Ilya seemed to have known about. So the idea that you wouldn't know about that seems unlikely to me. Maybe Kirei is directing Shiro's team towards Makiri and painting him as the final big bad. Make us think that he's the real big villain when actually Kirei is going to be doing things behind the scenes? Quite possibly. Is this going to be our first time meeting up with Makiri? Maybe. And at this point, Ilya would know things about Makiri to some extent, but Shiro does, at least so far, does not know those things. So we'll have to see if any of that goes on, or if maybe Ilya's going to remain unconscious for a while. So maybe that'll be why we won't find out from her, because we'll have to go confront him while she's still sleeping or something. I know one such person, but that is impossible as well. The old Makiri is already retired. That's what you think! Or is it? You probably also know that he was using Shinji, given how much, of a chess master you are. Kotomine must be satisfied as he gets up from the sofa.
話はここまでだ。今の話を聞いては監督役として放ってはおけん。
This is it. I cannot let this be as a supervisor. Oh fuck, you're taking action. Oh shoot. What? Cannot let this be as a supervisor. You cannot let Gilgamesh be part of the war as a supervisor. This feels like total bullshit, given what I know of Fate Zero. But this is probably going to be leading to what would be a plot twist if I didn't know Fate Zero. And you're supposed to be like, oh yeah, Kirei, we're totally on his side, and he's going to bring us somewhere. It's going to be some big misdirection or some big trap, and we're going to go, or at least in theory we should go, but I won't go, because I'll see it coming because of Fate Zero.
そのサーバントに関しては私が調べよう。お前は残るランサーとの戦いに専念するがいい。
So far, presumably the big three factors of the war are Kirei, Makiri, and Einsburn, I suppose. I mean, as far as people working behind the scenes to do shady shit, I guess. I shall investigate that servant. You should concentrate on your remaining battle with Lancer. Then again, we haven't actually seen Einsburn doing that much shady shit. I mean, yeah, granted, they're the one making the Grail, but that's nothing new for this Grail war, specifically. We haven't seen them do that much shady for this war, specifically, but... You should concentrate on your remaining battle with Lancer. Are you actually going to be meeting with Gilly for the first time, or have you actually seen him all along? It would be interesting if you are meeting him again for the first time, what that would be like. But it's also very likely that you have known him all along, and this is a ploy. Does not seem that he's directing Shiro at Maki, since he said he is retired. Well, it's like inferred. Even if he says, oh, he's retired, it couldn't be him. It's one of those things where Shiro's going to be like, I have to look into him. He said he's retired, but I don't know that for sure. He could be wrong. And Kirei probably expects him to act that way. I mean, yeah, he's saying, I like Kirei as well. I think Kirei's a fun character. Concentrate on your remaining battle with Lancer. He is saying to concentrate on his battle with Lancer, but come on. I mean, most people, when told, like, Kirei clearly flagged that on purpose. He was like, the only thing I can think of is Maki-ri. I should look into this. He's probably retired. Don't worry about it. Focus on Lancer. But he still went out of his way to say that on purpose. And that's probably going to trigger something, or at least trigger the choice for Shiro to think, maybe I should investigate that. And I honestly would like for Maki-ri to be investigated. But I feel like that is Kirei's red herring. Even if Maki-ri is doing shady shit, it's shady shit that will keep him occupied and not looking into Kirei's shady shit, possibly. Kotomine walks to the exit if there's nothing more to talk about. Dash, 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 dash. Well, there's certainly nothing more to be gained from being here. I leave the dark room and follow Kotomine, who leads me to the exit silently. Okay. I leave the church. And outside is Lancer, and he stabs me in the heart. Game over! Behind me. Oh, fuck!
聖杯を手に入れればセーバーは死ぬ。その意味が分かっているのだろうな、エミヤシロ。
Saber will die once she obtains the Holy Grail. You know what that means, don't you, Emiya Shiro? It means I have to use my wish to resurrect her with my penis? Or something? I mean, I get it, but like, other servants will disappear when they obtain the Holy Grail unless they use it for something that, like, staying there, so, you know, disappearing, dying, I mean, more or less the same thing. The priest asks if confirming it. As if confirming it. Feels like there's multiple chess masters playing right now. Shiro's team may be the kingmaker of this war. Yeah, Shiro himself is definitely not smart enough to know what's going on, but the choices he makes may influence who wins the war. Now, Shiro, at least in theory, Shiro's probably going to come out on top, at least in the golden ending. But I can definitely see how his choices could potentially influence which of the real chess masters wins the war, you know, in theory. The priest asks as if confirming it. Given that they have 3 masters and the most powerful servant working for them, what they choose to do will definitely, you know, change things. Dash, 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 dash. The priest is looking down at me from the doorway. Saber will die if she obtains the Holy Grail. I already know that. Saber's goal is to obtain the Holy Grail, and she doesn't want the Holy Grail's power. I mean, no, she does want the Holy Grail's power. She just doesn't want it for the thing that you wanted to want it for. Once she obtains the Grail, nothing will bind her. She'll be freed from her situation, frozen on the verge of death. She'll die an unrewarded death on that hill.
どういう風の吹き回しだ? あんたがそんな忠告をする玉か?
What's wrong? You're not the type to give that kind of a warning, are you? Do you know him well enough to know what type of guy he is? Or even think you know?
なに? お前がセーバーに肩入れしている様は喜ばしいのでな。
I'm just
私
happy
なりの行為として忠告しているのだ。
that you're supporting Saber. I'm warning you out of kindness. Oh, for a second I thought when he said that, it's like, I'm warning you away from kindness. Don't be kind. Kind is bad. No, I'm warning you out of kindness. Kindness, what? Because you like Saber? Or you like me? Or... Sure, fine. Okay. I think you're warning him just because you want to see how he acts. Because you enjoy people watching to an extent. Whoever convinces, influences, deceives Shiro's team to further their goals will probably win, unless Shiro's team has more info. Ilya should have some, but she's unconscious and can't tell us the info for now. He probs can't win this war. This route doesn't seem likely at all, since this Shiro is focusing only on Saber. That's true. I don't think it's very likely that Saber has any chance of beating Gilgamesh with what they have now. I think Shiro would need to be the deciding factor to help beat Gilgamesh, and he's not really at a place to actually do that much help. Some help, but I don't think that much. both from an actual power standpoint and from a story standpoint. I think it would be narratively unsatisfying if she does beat him at this point. But yeah.
聖杯を手に入れてしまえばセーバーは消える。
Saber will disappear when she obtains the Holy Grail.
彼女と共にいたいのならば、聖杯は諦めるべきだろうとな。
If you wish to be with her, you should give up the Holy Grail. That feels a little backwards. You could always use your wish to make her stay, since you don't have any wish in the first place. And after all, if someone else gets the Grail, they might have a shitty wish. Then again, most people we know just don't have a wish and just want it, but... even if they do beat Gilgamesh, the opposing chessmaster will probably rejoice at that sight, since one of the chessmaster lost their biggest tool. Yeah, but if they beat Gilgamesh, and if Lancer's taken out of the equation, then Saber just wins. Like, you can't win the Grail War if you don't have a pawn. I mean, I understand how maybe the Einsteins can win you through Ilya or through Kiritsugu, but they need someone to win through. Like, they need to have a stake in the horse somehow. And I get it, but, like, you know, I mean... in theory, if we take out Gilgamesh and we take out Lancer, we should just win unless something happens before then. Now, something could happen before then, but if it once, it's just one servant left, at that point, they have to have made their move before then, or it's over. But, in theory.
それこそ矛盾してる。聖杯がなかったら、セイバーをとどめておけない。
It's even more of a contradiction. I won't be able to keep Saber if I don't have the Holy Grail.
聖杯に頼ることはあるまい。先ほどのサーバントの話もある。
Yeah, we've been over
セ
this.
ーバーを存命させたいのなら、魂を与え続ければいいだけではないか。
You do not need to rely on the Holy Grail. It's just like that servant we were talking about. If you want to keep Saber, all you need to do is feed her souls. Been there, done that. Soul Eater. What is that? I was like sort of humming the opening to Soul Eater, but then also like Believe in Next. It was mixed in there somewhere, so I don't know what that was.
ふざけるな。そんなことできるもんか。
Don't play with me, I can't do that. I glare at the priest.
そうか。それは残念だ。
I see, that's too bad. Kirei's definitely antagonizing Shiro. I feel like he's always antagonizing everyone because he likes to see how they respond. He must not even care about my glare as the priest is laughing.
ならば、聖杯の中身に期待するしかないな。
Then your only hope is the contents of the Holy Grail. So what, you're gonna open up Ilya and use the Grail to save Saber? No! I refuse! But I refuse! Igiari!
お前のサーバントが望まないにしても、レイジを一つ残しておけばそれでいい。お前の望みはそれで叶う。
You just call me Oh My, you little dick. Then again, Shiro calls most people Oh My anyways. Even if your servant does not wish it, all you have to do is keep one command spell. Your wish will be granted that way. I guess? The priest is saying that it doesn't matter even if Saber doesn't want it. That's exactly what ended up with Saber with Kiritsugu. Kiritsugu's last wish to have her fuck up the Grail. So, if I'm a master, I can just force Saber to drink using the power of the Holy Grail, the command spell. Yeah, I mean, you do have one spell left. That is one way, but, I mean, does she want that? Would she want that? I think you have to convince her to want it first. So, like, if you don't convince her, she's just not going to be happy after the fact anyways and kill herself or whatever. Dash, dash, dash. Forcing her means nothing if we can't actually get her to want it. Which she's on the way to wanting, because she wants my penis to some extent. We just need her to fully embrace wanting my penis.
おや、失言だったか。そう睨むな。あく
Did I
まで
offend
今
you?
のは忠告に過ぎん。
Don't glare at me so much. That was just a warning.
ま、セイバーの意志を尊重するのもよかろう。彼女の人生だ。我々が口を出す権利はない。
You could also respect Saber's wishes. I don't think to him that computes. He's very selfish. It is her life. We have no right to say anything about it. We could at least say something about it, even if, we don't act on it. I think you have a right to freedom of speech, but selfish is also... Selfish is also a rather Shiro individual, and, that's really coming to the forefront with the Saber situation. Like, she's like, I want to do X, and Shiro's like, no, because that means you can't be here to bone me. Saber, at best, if we force her, would just ditch Shiro, and worse, kill herself. I mean, yeah, pretty much.
例のサーバントに関しては明日中に調べ上げよう。
I shall investigate that servant tomorrow. Sounds like a load of cockamamie, but okay.
気が向いたのならもう一度訪れるがいい。
Come here again if you feel like it. Ooh, that sounds like such a load of cockamamie, but I might do it just to see what happens. If it's a choice. It might not be a choice. Maybe I have to. The door to the church closes. Looking up at the towering church, I leave this place. I cross the Moonlit Bridge. And we're gonna make a save point. Save point. Ooh, pretty song. I think. Is there a song? Kirei has entered the fight. Maybe. Oh, it's this song. I know this song. Nice song. I like this song. It's like the somber song that plays at nighttime. At this point, I don't think Kirei would want to kill Shiro. He's probably having too much fun with Shiro, at least for now. Especially if there's some evil demon inside him, I bet Kirei would want to get access to whatever that is. But, yeah, so we're gonna intermission real quick, so let me, do some things and stuff. Excuse me. Oh, we totally could have just killed Shiro just now. Well, maybe, I don't know. Because Shiro is hard to kill. But he definitely has the strength to potentially do it. If he wanted to. What's happening? If he couldn't kill him, he'd definitely incapacitate him for a while. Good old chop off his head. Since someone mentioned a song name a while back, I'll mention this song's name, Ever Present Feeling. It's a nice song. Very nice song. This is Renegade's Intermission song. Oh, I'm back. Oh, this song, sure. Ghost Trick. Ghost Trick, it's some kind of Ghost Trick song, I think. But anyways, I crossed the Moonlit Bridge. This is the place where I walked with Saber. I think today I might just end early. I'm not saying we're gonna end yet, but usually I would go for like 2 hours. Might end a bit early because I feel like I've got my fill, and next week I'm planning to go long. Anyways, I don't know why I'm letting you know now. I could just wait until I finish early. I just want to give you a chance to be prepared to be like, no, don't end so early, Renegade. We love the sound of your voice. This is the place where I walked with Saber. It is a nice song. At that time, I was just looking at the scenery, not thinking about anything.
聖杯を手に入れればセーバーは死ぬ。
Saber will die if she obtains the Holy Grail. The real reason I want to end early is because I just got to a really cool episode that I want to watch blind way for you. Saber will die if she obtains the Holy Grail.
その意味が分かっているのだろうな、エミヤシロ。
You know what that means, Emi Yashiro. Means no more lovin' time. I do love the VN music. A shame the modern animes don't use it that often. Well, they gotta have their own soundtracks, I'm sure, and they're probably fine. But I definitely do like this song. There is some, good music in the VN, but I think the animes... I think the best thing to do would have the animes have maybe a couple original tracks, and then remixes on tracks that are in the VNs. But, I don't know. Yeah. Dash exclamation point. I know, and I love her so much. I know without him telling me, but I doubly know because he did tell me. Why is everything so complicated? Why did everything get so complicated? What's that from? I don't know, I just started singing it. Some weird show. It's not from a show, I just remembered exactly what that is. Gosh. Anyways. Saber must not obtain the Holy Grail, but also she has to. Ooh, it's a contradiction. I guess, yeah, it's true that the rules of the Holy Grail War are rather complicated. For example, the Grail being with Ilya and all that jazz, but for you things are super simple. It just feels complicated because, 1 + 1 does not equal 2. And just because 1 + 1 = 3, that makes it complicated for you. Meanwhile, other people are over there being like 1 plus 7 minus 6 equals 7 plus 2 minus 7 divided by 3 over 4. But you're just like 1 plus 1, man. Why is it not equal 2? And that's your complicated. There's one track synonymous with Fate used in this VN and all the anime. Sadly, this song name is kind of a spoiler. Well, then don't say it. It is the only thing that can save her. Life is life. Life is life. Hello, Sakanen.
彼女と共にいたいのならば聖杯は諦めるべきだろう。
Silkananen. 2 nins. I just noticed there's a Silkananen. If you wish to be with her, you should give up the Holy Grail.
それでも存命させたいのなら彼女に魂を与え続ければいい。
You want to keep Saber, all you need to do is feed her souls. Oh, he's really fucking considering it because he's a bad person. Good person wouldn't consider that shit. But nope, he's considering it. He might not do it. He might not fringe. But he's thinking about it because he really wants to keep her. He likes her. She's his precious. I can't do that. You're still considering it. Even if I accepted that, Saber wouldn't. And that's why. Yep, look at that. You're like, Saber wouldn't like that, and if she doesn't like that and I try to do it, she won't like me anymore. That's why you're not willing to do it. Your true colors come out, Shiro. She'd rather disappear than do such things. She'd disappear and repeat this kind of war? Repeat this kind of war. As usual, Archer's words come back to haunt us all. Your own greatest enemy is yourself, Emiya Shiro. Now more than ever. Although, possibly in the future more than now. But at least now more than in the past.
ならば例示を一つ残しておけばそれでいい。
Keep one command spell. Oh, I love flashbacks to things that happened 5 seconds ago. She would disappear and repeat this kind of war. Only if you fail. If you win the war, then you know, that she'll just get to die finally, as it were.
お前の望みはそれで叶う。
That way, your wish shall be granted. You know, your wish of, you know, getting Saber as a bone partner. It won't technically, you know, be... Technically, you'll still have a wish on top of that, but, you know, I guess that's the closest you've ever come to having a wish at this point, I suppose. Ooh, he's getting heated up over that. Damn, shut up! Because he knows he's right. He knows Kirei's right. Otherwise, this wouldn't be getting to you. Oh, shoot! I stop and punch at the rails as if shaking off the command spell. Oh, you don't even be tempted. Fuck this command spell. I don't want to order her to do that. She'll get to die and do whatever heroic spirits do, which is not bone Shiro, most likely. A hard steel sound echoes through the night. Probably fucked up his wrist a bit, if he did punch it as hard as he could. But the wrist, I'm sure, will fix itself because of Wolverine powers. It's the only sound around here. There's no people nor cars around. Damn, why am I even thinking about it? Because you're a fucked up individual, Shiro. And you're now being forced to confront it because you finally have a desire that you're willing to be fucked up for. Before you were just going through the motions, you were like, oh, I should do the good thing. But now you're confronted with something you want, and you know that you'd have to do bad things to get it. And you're like, well, is the bad thing so bad if I get it? They are, but you're like, I lean on the rail and spit it out. I know I should just ignore Kotomine's opinion, but you're not ignoring it. His words had a charm that make me unable to ignore them. What did I want to do? And what was I trying to fight for? That's a good question. To get into Saber's vagina is, I feel like, what it's been for a while. Arguably since the start, because she was so purty. Like, initially, I thought that the reason that he decided to stay in the war, if you choose to stay in the war and you don't choose just nah, was because he was curious about the fire. Like, what happened with the fire. He wanted to look into it and investigate it. But he never bothered. He didn't care, really. Like, he does think it's bad that he doesn't, you know, he doesn't want a repeat incident, or, you know, he wants to make sure it's, you know, used properly. There's that idea. But he never bothered looking into, like, what caused it. He just suddenly was told that it was, like, Kiritsugu more or less caused it by Saber. But he never actually had to look into anything to find that out. And I assumed initially when he joined, the reason was that he was curious about what really happened and what went on, and, you know, making sure something like that doesn't happen again, but also what happened. But I think the more and more, you know, I get through this, I think the reality is that maybe there was a small part of him that cared about that, but not really. I think it more came down to, even from the start, like, Saber was the most beautiful thing in the world to him, and he wanted to bone her, and staying in the war meant he got to keep Saber as a servant. If he exited the war, then he wouldn't get to keep Saber, and so that's why he's fighting. He's fighting because he's thirsty. What was his wish before all this? Before Saber, the sight that he would remember even if he went to hell? His wish was to emulate his father, to become a hero of justice, but now what would a hero of justice, a hero of justice would stop Shiro from feeding all the souls to Saber. But, yeah, his wish to become a hero of justice, but it was so hollow and empty, and I think he was realizing that. So the Saber thing made such a strong impression that, you know, cared very little about all the hero of justicing once Saber came around. At first, it was to end the Holy Grail War, because he didn't want another fuck-up accident like in Fate Zero. When did that purpose fade away and become secondary? I think it was always secondary and you just don't want to admit it. Was it when I was obstinate about fighting by myself? No, yeah, that's right. Feels like forever ago, not letting Saber fight. You're a girl. Girls shouldn't fight. I should be fighting. Was it when I decided to cooperate with Saber after I painfully realized how powerless I was? Or was it from the very beginning? Or is it from the time I made a sword for her after that night in the ruins? I guess that's a nice thought, the idea that, no. Is that a nice thought? I'm just trying to deceive myself with all that. Okay, he's actually aware of his own deception, though, and he's bringing it up. That's good. Self-reflection. I don't even need to think about it. Back then, when I met her in the moonlight in that shed, my mind was already made up. She was the hottest thing in the world, and I must protect. She was my waifu. The choice was already made. Fuck Renegade's opinion. Dash. That would have been fine. If I hadn't found out because of the dreams, this probably would have ended before I knew it. If I hadn't found out because of the dreams? Oh, you mean about Saber's life. Because now it makes you care even more about her. But you would have cared, maybe you're caring more than you would have had you not had the dreams, but I feel like you're just caring in a different direction. I think you would have cared this much regardless. Unless you slipped in, until Saber exited your life entirely. I think going down this route was kind of inevitable. But I found out. I couldn't leave her alone and decided I didn't want to lose her. I want to stay like this. I want to keep watching her smile. Ow. You just realizing the pain from when you punched the bridge? The girl watching the sunset alone in the Hill of Swords. Will all the routes be a Saber route as long as she was his servant? There might be some big point of detraction. It might have to do with timey-wimey time travel. If I'm right that we're going to be doing some time travel, then maybe that'll give him, or me, more agency to choose a choice that isn't Saber, possibly. Because maybe he'll be like, oh, maybe it was me wanting to bone Saber so hard that fucked up this timeline. Maybe I should choose to bone a different girl, or something. My chest hurts thinking back to it. She never had time that was her own. I just don't like that. Kiritsugu said we shouldn't let girls cry. I think a smiling face is much better than a crying one. That's why I was irritated when Saber wasn't smiling. But when I told her to smile, she said that it was better if she saw me smiling. Ooh, like a reflection. That's It's like seeing stars through a telescope that you can never reach. It's like, isn't it more like seeing stars through a telescope that are also looking back at you with a telescope? And it's like, what? Stars? What are you doing? You're supposed to just let me watch you as stars. But the stars are like, nope, we're going to watch you with our telescope. You're the more interesting specimen. Or something. I think the analogy works to an extent. Damn it. I look up at the night sky. Looking up at the star I can never reach. Uh-huh. Because when the war is over, she's going to be exiting your life. Unless you make your wish. But then you're like, even if you do make it your wish, if she doesn't want it, then what does it matter? You have to make her want it, but you're so bad at doing that because that means thinking about other people's perspectives, and you're a very selfish individual. Drip. An unnoticed tear falls down my cheek. Well, how can you say it's an unnoticed tear if you're pointing it out? I like this shit a lot more. Self-reflection, introspection, more than the repeat of exposition. Yeah, well. I like her. Okay, well, you know, I like Ilya. You don't see me crying. What? Maybe when she turns into a couple, cry. I say so to no one. You say so to yourself. However dull I am, I have to admit it. Hey, you admit you're dull. There's nothing I can do about it. Yes, there is, if you give in to your evil side, or if you just use your wish. Is that the first time Shiro's cried in the story? Just might be. They said in his flashback he didn't cry much for his father passing. Like, he was sad, but there wasn't many tears. Because I think he cares so little. But this is something, you know, he suddenly cares about, so. I like her so much that I can cry for no reason. That is the reason. Welcome back, you're pretty late. Yeah, I'm just having a little chit-chat with, good old Kirei. Oh, and also, you're awake. Did you know I was gone? And then, Tosaka's standing in the doorway, waiting for me because maybe she was, surprised when I left because she's always keeping tabs on me because she wants to keep tabs on her husbando.
Tosaka,
Tosaka, why are you... Let's talk inside. Come on in, you seem tired. What, do you want to be his shoulder to cry on? Very direct. What do you want to talk about exactly? Maybe you've realized Saber's feelings for me. And you know you have feelings for me, but you know I have feelings for Saber, and you've realized it. And so you want to look past that a little bit and try to give him some real advice. But, like, how good is your advice going to be given that you've been awkward with all the romance? He said he was initially not crying, but like an hour later until morning he was crying so much. Felt emotionally drained. Maybe he's like a late reactor with most of his emotions. It takes a while to kick in. She takes my arm without asking me and starts to walk. Giggity? And takes me to her room. Fucking her room. Still my house. She freaking made it her own. She's still staying here. Gosh. Wow, you're really laying it on thick, Ren. Here's some tea. It must have been cold outside. She says so rather bluntly, but she's thoughtful.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Honestly, I appreciate the hot tea. What is going on with Ren? This might be a whole scene. Shiro's emotionally dead to most things in life, but Kiritsugu is one of the exceptions since he was his savior, father, teacher, ideal. His superhero. I need a hero. I hear some. Okay. I think with this rain scene coming at us, we having a talk with Ren? This seems personal. Personnel. Yeah. I don't remember how to spell personnel off the top of my head, so I'm just gonna say personal. Unless I'm spelling that wrong. Save. So, yeah. I've been going for like 2-ish hours for most of these streams, Monday, Friday streams, but today stopped a bit early for a couple of reasons. I wanted to, I wanted let this Rin thing be its own section. And for another thing, I'm planning to do like a Fate marathon next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So, you know, be there, be circle. But yeah, it feels like a nice breaking point. It feels like this whole Rin thing might be its whole own other thing that I want to appreciate on its own. So, stopping on there for Blind Wave. No, shut up. Maybe. I'll see you guys next time on Let's Play Stay Fate Night of the Blind Variety. Still don't have an outro phrase. Stop recording. Okay, next time we're gonna have Rin. This time we had Shiro, self-reflection. This is a good part. I like the reflection. Next time we had self-reflection. Maybe next time we'll have Rin reflection. Maybe we'll get the birds and the bees talk from Rin. That'd be kind of weird. Maybe stop recording.